All right, in this video, we are going to talk about printing two-dimensional arrays. So I have a two-dimensional array declared here. It's an array of strings, but you can use this, for other types of arrays. And I'm going to talk about two different ways to print this out. So the first way is just a very quick way of printing it out. So it doesn't take a lot of code to write this out. And the downside of this first way is that you won't be able to control how it's printed, but it's still useful for testing things out and figuring out debugging your program and things like that. So the quick way to do that is to import java.util.arrays. And then if you want to print it out, it's just arrays dot toString, and now you're going to see it's going to snap to deep toString, which is what you want in this case. And let me show you why you want that. So if you looked at some of the previous videos about printing out arrays, one-dimensional arrays, you've seen it done this way. The thing is if you try to print a two-dimensional array like you would do a one-dimensional array, you're going to see these are the results that you get. So here you get this text right here, and that is the type of the array that you're talking about. In this case, it's strings, and then the memory, or the hash of the memory address, right, where it's stored. And that's not super helpful if you want to actually see the strings that are inside the rows here printed out. And so that's where deep toString comes to help out. So it's deep capital toString. And then if you print that out, you'll see you get a more reasonable printing, right? You can actually see what's in these rows when it gets printed out, okay? So like I said, this is good if you just quickly want to print things out to check things in your program. The downside here is that you do not have any control over how this is printed out. That's controlled by this arrays class, okay? So if you want to control how things are printed out, what you would do is use a for loop, and that standard for loop you would set it up just like pretty much every other for loop that you set up working with an array. So here I have the variable I that I'm going to use to control this loop, and then it would be I less than words.length. That would be the general way to do it, which is preferred, right? You should try to use this general way. That way, if your array changes, then you won't have to change this code. All right, and words.length is going to give me the number of, in this case, the number of rows, right, that I need to print out. Okay. So this has 1, 2, 3 rows if you're kind of looking at this as a table. Okay, so then you're going to need another variable to control. And this variable would basically be used to control the number, or iterate over the number of columns that you have. In this case, it's 3 as well. You have 3 rows and 3 columns. But the way that you want to do that is to look at how many elements are in each row, basically. And so in order to do that, what you would do is words I, like this. All right, so words I, for each row that you have, words I dot length is going to give you the number of elements in that row, particular row. Okay. Like so. Okay. And so again, notice here on this one, the variable I is going to be representing or contain all of the indices for the rows. So that's basically how many rows you have. And then J is how many columns that you have. This will work in ragged arrays. That's arrays where each row may have a different number of elements in it. So this will work as well, although we don't really need that in the final project. Okay. And then the last thing that you want to do is inside these two for loops is to print out the individual elements. That didn't come out right. So it should be words bracket I bracket J, like so. Okay. And this is going to print all of those out one by one. Now you can see it's going to print them out on a new line. You don't really want that for the final project, but I'm going to leave that up to you as to how you set that out. Okay, it's really easy to fix that. There are some other issues that you'll need to work out for the final project. But this code right here is the basic code that will let you print out a two-dimensional array. Okay, and so you'll have to customize it to get the effect that you want for the final project.